Olivier, welcome to Show Studio.
Thank you.
Now, you've transformed Balmain. It's so relevant, so prominent. Tell me, what was your initial aim when you were made creative director in 2011?
It's really funny because I didn't know what it means to be creative director. You just learn from school how to be a designer. You just learn how to try to make beautiful clothes, the tailoring, the right shoulder pads, the right details, choosing the right fabric. I think, like when I became creative director, I really didn't know what's gonna happen to my life. So I just wanted to please like my customers, my president. I was like a kid also, so I was just like literally just understanding like the business and trying to make the most beautiful collection, making obviously like the best sellers and everything. But I think now being creative director for me, it's something completely different. It's also making a big business, which I'm doing, but it's also like expressing more my point of view, more myself, something that is more maybe personal, more emotional that maybe, 4 years ago I didn't dare to do. So I learned a lot about myself also.
Because you were just 25 when you took over. It was incredibly young and a lot was made of that. Did you feel ever out of your depth? Have you ever felt out of your depth?
Honestly, like, what do you mean by out of your depth?
Kind of like overwhelmed or like not up to the job or, intimidated, I guess.
No, never. Like weirdly, I have a big confidence. Like, and it's not pretension. I really worked a lot. I'm a person that left my family when I was 18, and I used to go to Italy and work for 6 years for Cavalli. I worked so much, like I didn't have weekends, I was not partying like maybe a young guy would do. I also put aside my private life, so I think, I think I deserved what I did and what I have today. Like I really worked hard and I still do.
You must work incredibly hard. It's interesting though that you talk about sort of putting aside your private life, because I think one of the things that you've done very, very cleverly is, involve yourself in the brand, and you've become, a real ambassador for it, as well as being a creative director. And people make a lot of, your Instagram presence, like you're the most followed French designer, and they've said that you're your own best advert. Do you agree with that? Do you think that's true?
I think yes, I'm the ambassador of the house, but I couldn't do that 4 years ago, is what I tell you. Like now I think the house is growing up as much at the same time I'm growing, it's like a person. Like I'm looking for myself a lot, I have my own doubts. I'm trying to understand who I am more and more. I'm literally like growing up with the house, but at the same time I feel like with Instagram, I get a lot of followers and people get into my universe, and that's something that I like, because now you like Balmain and you like also me, and if you hate some choices that I can do, you also hate the choices for the house. But it's something that it's really personal, and at the same time I think you need the truth, you need sincerity, and that's what I do. Like I put a lot of emotion in my brand, and also a lot of work. So yeah.
Is that ever intimidating though, when you pour yourself as a person and your personality into the brand so much? Because it means you're putting yourself kind of very much out there. Is that
but I think it's important today because I think it's over like designers that actually are in like a tower and we don't see them. Like I think now people want to have more emotions. They want to see clothes, but they want to also get into a universe. There's something more real about everything, and it's not only fashion; it's also music. It's also TV, like why it's so important to the real TV, like all like albums, singers, like they speak about their life also, So I feel like to also sell to people a dream and a story, you need also to be true and to show who you are. And that's what I'm doing with Balmain, I'm showing that I'm this kind of guy that actually grew up pretty fast, and showing my selfies, my whatever, like my hangovers, but also my collection, a $25,000 dress, also me working on a tailored jacket. Like I'm just showing, my life. I can be with my friends that may be famous in LA. I can be with my grandma for Christmas. I think it's also really interesting for people to see that fashion is also more accessible. There's something that is less elitist, and I kind of like that. Because I like the pop effect, I love the population, the popular thing. So that's why I think it's important for me to give more to people. It's a piece of a dream that you actually want to give to the world. So
yeah, you said before in interviews that the question that you'd been asked in this case, you were talking about casting and the diversity in casting, but you said something that really struck with me. You said that, you know, fashion people talk to themselves too much.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
I think, and I get so many haters when I saw that, when I say that. Yes, I feel like, it's what I told you, 4 years ago, I was really working for my front row. You know, like when, I mean, I didn't know what was happening to me. You know, I was a designer, and after the choreographer of the show told me like, now it's time for you to go under the spotlight. So I just literally went there, seeing all this light, and I was like, okay, my life's gonna change. And you just see like the first faces, and it's like front row. So you can imagine all the amazing people that you have in the front row. And people actually I really like. But you know, at the end of the day, I mean, 4 years after, you realize that fashion is not only that. Fashion is not the people that is only in your room. Fashion is so much more than that. And that's why I really love the comments on my Instagram. You know, it can be haters, it can be lovers, it can be buyers, it can be people from magazine, it can be young kids that want to do fashion, it can be black guys that are super happy to see me as a designer and say, okay, you are an inspiration for us, or like, you know, like young girls loving my friend and say, oh, I love that you go out with this girl. Or I mean, I just like that. I just like to feel like fashion is more pop. Yes.
I think a lot of designers and maybe a lot of people in the industry are quite conservative. They're scared of that kind of conversation. They're scared of that flexibility where people can comment, and the democratization of fashion. And you know, they like to keep themselves very hidden away and quite inaccessible. Do you find that quite strange or frustrating?
No, I completely understand. You know, when you expose yourself, I think you need to understand that having 1 million followers today as a designer is not, you know, it's not an easy thing. You know, it's not just waking up and taking a selfie. There is something more than that. It's deeper, obviously, because you expose yourself. It's way easier to just to hide yourself in a room, you know, and just waiting for your house to actually shoot your clothes, wait like maybe your president paying some magazine and like that you get more press, you know. Like I feel like, you know, I'm showing my clothes, I'm showing my way of seeing fashion, I'm not responding to the mafia. I just love really the fact that I'm honest and true to myself. And yes, I think it's also a risk when you expose yourself, but it's a risk that I want to take because I want to stay true to myself.
Do you think that that's quite a new view of luxury? Because I think for a long time people thought that luxury was about exclusivity and about, you know, not being able, only a select few people would come to know the creative director of a house, you know, that it was very closed off. And you know, you've really thrown that out. You've proved that you can be very out there as a person and still keep that real idea of luxury as part of Bauman.
I think luxury, it's something that is evolving, you know. Yeah. What was luxury in the 70s, what was luxury in the 20s, what was luxury in the 18th century, it can't be the same in 2015. And I really believe that also because I'm doing a lot of couture, my work is a lot of craftsmanship, I feel like it's already unique, my work. And I think what is modern in that is also like putting that on a digital and actually sharing that. Because I think, you know, social media, in a way, it doesn't mean that it's become vulgar, you know. It can still be really luxury and really couture and really unique and feel like really elitist at the same time, sharing with the entire world. Why we can't do that? And I feel like, you know, the 90s was also like that, because also with the top models, you know, when I remember like Naomi and Claudia and Linda and, you know, like the Crazy Show, and you were also seeing the girls that were also like more communicating about fashion, you know. You remember like big campaigns, and, you know, you really remember that fashion was talking a lot more to people in the street, you know. Like my mom, she remembers like some shows, and she's not a fashion addict. But today I feel like sometimes fashion goes too closed, and I think it's sad because at one point, you know, you just become like, you know, you're just alone in your room and just sketching for yourself, you know, like you just need to actually like share with people.
You said today that sometimes fashion becomes too closed. Do you think that is because people are nervous at the moment? It is a time of change for the industry, and there's so many huge changes, which I think you've truly embraced, things like social media, but...
I love what's happening to fashion industry now, because it's just so funny how people can be like so rude and mean like 4 years ago and change their mind 4 years after. I love what's happening now. I just think it's just like a revolution. It's not only an evolution. I really feel like there is revolution in the fashion world, and but also like the concept of the celebrities, like being like, you see more celebrities now on the cover of magazine than models. Why? Because I think now also fashion realized that you don't maybe put anymore the new faces because you just have always, you know, girls that are going to disappear in 2 months, you know. So I feel like now we are changing that. We want to go back to the top models. We want to go back to real girls on the catwalk. We want to actually push girls to become top models and not just forgetting them after 2 months. We want to sell magazines. We have celebrities on the cover. I think there is something really strong and new that's happening. And I think fashion world, in a way, is becoming more pop. Really, I feel it. I mean, everybody's on Instagram, but like 5 years ago, they were like, "Oh, you can't put luxury on internet. You can't sell luxury on internet," you know. Yeah. And now, I mean, like all the houses are on Instagram and hoping to actually get followers.
Do you think you've spearheaded that in some ways? Do you think you've spearheaded that in some ways? I do think people would look at you and your career and Bauman as a brand and follow that example. I think you've been very innovative.
I don't know how, you know, it's a really interesting question. I don't know what's gonna, I always ask myself what I'm gonna leave to the story, you know, what's gonna happen, you know, like, I think it's really deep question because my dream is actually that people will remember me, like, but not for pretension, you know, it's just because I love the fact that people like me. I mean, I have to say, like, I look for it. I love the fact that I feel loved, like I'm a human person, and I would love that maybe in some, I mean, when I'm gonna die, like people remember me like for someone that pushed some boundaries. And I think more than the digital, like, you know, I come from an orphanage, you know, I was like 1 year old when my parents adopted me, and I think it's a strong also message to show that, you know, I'm a black boy in a white family. I've been adopted, I was in an orphanage, and getting all what I get today, I can show to people that actually, you know, dream come true, just work for it. You don't care about your start, make sure that the future is gonna be better, you know, just make sure that you're gonna be stronger. So I think as a human person, a human being, I really hope that people can get that as like a hope, you know, like dare and don't be afraid. And after in fashion, I don't know, because I feel like I'm gonna leave something, but I don't know what. I mean, and actually that I don't know. Like I have no idea.
You mentioned your upbringing there, and we've talked quite a lot about the present, but I want to go back and ask about the past. And tell me about what you were like as a boy. You've talked about yourself as a boy of the world, and I suppose that you were referring to your ethnicity there. Tell me a bit about what you were like growing up. And being, as you say, you know, a black boy in a white family. And I
think, you know, my life was like my Instagram today, trying to have a lot of likes. I mean, obviously, like you don't get followers when you are like 4 or 5 years old, but when you have the best results at the school, you're just happy because everybody's like, oh, you're a good student. I was trying to satisfy everybody that was around me. I was also, I had a lot of doubts. I was really scared, like when I was a kid, you know, like I remember that I was always bringing my pajama everywhere because I was scared that my parents abandoned me again, you know, like that's so, I mean, it's kind of really strong thing. So I wanted always to please people, to actually make sure that I'm going to keep them around me. And I think that's also like a result of my life, Instagram, because why people is following me now, why I get so many likes and everything, because I'm, in a way, like I'm still looking for it, you know, it's something that you always keep in you and it's not going to disappear like that. So I grew up like I was the perfect student. I'm lonely child, so literally like I was a lot in my head. I was sketching a lot in my bedroom and having my fantasy, my dreams. I mean, I was this child, like dreaming a lot. I was always dreaming.
What were you dreaming of? What were your ambitions?
I wanted to be president of the world. My parents explained me that's not happening. I was like, why is not happening? I want to change the world. And they were like, start to write songs. I don't know. Like, no, I mean, it's, I don't know. Like I wanted so many things when I was young. I was like, yes, a big dreamer. I was dreaming of changing stuff that I didn't like. I wanted to, I mean, I don't know. I was literally, I was really good at school. I was good at sport. I was pleasing my dad, so I did a lot of. I was a footballer, you know. I did football, and after I realized that I wanted to be a lawyer also, because I wanted to travel and to speak different languages, and I wanted to fight against the rules and everything. But I realized that it's better for me to become fashion designer. You know, that's it.
And tell me, what were your influences as a boy? Because do you remember your first fashion show, or do you remember? Did you care about clothes? Did you look at what your mother was wearing?
Yeah, I remember above all my grandma, you know, with her Chanel purse, and I remember that for me, fashion always been really important in my culture. Also because I'm French, you know, and I think for French people, fashion has always been part of the culture. Like it's like food, you know. It's like this kind of thing that, and fashion was really pop before because everybody knew who was Chanel, Yves Saint Laurent, Dior. You know, it's Balmain. There's this thing about like really feeling it's part of the patrimoine, you know, like it's like Versailles, you know, there's this thing that you know, it's a history. So yes, fashion always been in my blood in a way, and always I remember like looking at old shows, trying to, you know, the old movies about Coco Chanel or like I remember like Yves Saint Laurent with Catherine Deneuve. It's, you know, it's something that is part of my culture.
Mm. And tell me, because music has been a big influence and still is, and you talk about it a lot. Were you interested in kind of this idea of the art world or celebrity or the creative universe at that point?
It's very funny because a lot of people think that I'm a star system person, and I'm really not. Like, if you really think about who I love, it's not 150 people. Like, I'm really close to the people that I love, and I love them also because they're really strong. Mm. But I don't care about the celebrity effect. What I care about is the strong effect. Like the girls that I love, that I'm close to, are strong women, and they show me that I can trust them. You know, we share secrets, we share our stories, we feel like we have the same vibes. So, and happen that there are some celebrities, but at the same time, I have many friends that are not celebrities, and the star system is not something that I belong to. I belong to real friendship. And that's what is funny, because a lot of people are like, oh, you love star system. I'm like, yeah, but I mean, look at who I love. I mean, there's not so many girls, so many women, you know. I love a lot of people, but I mean, close to me, really close, I don't think you can see so much.
Is that criticism frustrating sometimes, that people...
Yeah, because I think sometimes they don't realize that there's a lot of work. I mean, I can be like an Insta addict. I can need an Insta rehab. But the reality is that look at my show, look at my work, look at my craftsmanship, look at the diversity. Start to see that there's a deep message in everything that I do. Like, you can dislike it, it's obvious. I mean, but don't judge me just because, you know, like I have more followers, so I'm not a good designer. We can't do both, you know. Like, it's not possible. You know, I just think. You know, it's when someone says, if you're pretty, you're dumb. Like, can't you have both? You know, yeah. So it's the same story with designer. You can be famous in a way and still being a good designer. And I feel sometimes people forget my work, like literally.
Let's talk about you as a designer, because as you say, that's what you were first and foremost before you became a creative director. And tell me, did you want to study fashion sort of when you were young? Because there was this point where you wanted to become a lawyer, but was the interest in fashion was there before that, though, wasn't it? Yeah, tell me a bit about those
ambitions. You know, fashion has always been in my mind. I mean, I always loved the fact to look for identity. I think the fact that I come from what I told you before, I always loved the clothes to actually make you feel you have an identity. It was something really personal. So for me, I was creating my own story with my clothes. You know, I was dreaming and I was like thinking who I am, you know. And I remember, like, when I was a kid, I was dressing like a prince and saying, like, okay, I come from this country because I don't know where I come from. So I mean, for me, clothes were really, really important to actually identify myself. But also I understood that it was like a passion, you know, something that you love, and you can love shopping and everything. You can love styling, you can love sketching, but you have to realize a bit older that you can make your passion becoming your job. It's not something easy that you realize at 12, you know. You can realize that maybe at 15 or 16 and talking to your parents, and your parents like, really? You really think you can make that happen? You know, you're sure it's a job? Don't you think it's more about I give you more money and you get more clothes, like, you know? But it's something really interesting because I follow my instinct, and I stopped the school, like a law school, and I also stopped my fashion school, and I wanted to work. So I realized growing up that I wanted to become a designer, and I understood that my job can also be a passion.
Did you ever really want to be a lawyer?
Sorry?
Did you ever really want to be a lawyer?
I think no.
No.
I think I like the concept of it. And I kind of like the people that was in the school, I have to say. But I was actually not looking at the board, I was looking at the people around me that were pretty.
But your parents, I'm interested because your parents, when you dropped out of law school, you've said in interviews before that they cut you off at that point. They said they didn't want to give you any more money.
Yeah.
Were they supportive still? Or?
No, I think it's a way also to support me, to actually say to your kid, like, you know, now you're just gonna walk with your legs, you know, and I think it was smart from them because I faced so many things. Happened so many things in my life that in a way I grew up like as a strong person. You know, when you work in fashion and you start at 18, you need to understand that you're gonna face stuff that you are not expecting, and I think it made me stronger. So when I see my interns now, and I can see them like, you know, like having another work after barman because they need to pay their rent, you know, and I remember who I was, you know, it reminded me completely the kid that I was, and I think I understand also them a lot because I used to actually dance in a club to actually pay my rent, you know, so I know exactly what you feel.
Yeah, tell me about that period where you were kind of trying to make it, because you went to Italy first, which surprises me in a way because being, you know, your French identity is something that's very important to you. Why Italy?
Because I'm French, and I think French, and it's about traveling, you know. Like I think the most famous French people are the people that actually travel a lot in the world, and I always loved French culture. And fashion French culture, and when you look at old shows from different big designers, they've always been inspired by the rest of the world, and they bring back to Paris. So I think I feel the same, you know, I'm really French in that, so I wanted to actually discover different culture, and I kind of like, you know, this competition between France and Italy. So I just think that for me, understanding what is fashion, the French fashion, I needed to also understand what is Italian fashion. So I went there. I obviously loved Italian culture, and I wanted to learn a new language. I wanted to actually be in a different culture, leaving also my parents. So yes, it was really, really interesting. And honestly, I had three choices. I had three dreams when I was a kid. It was being an intern for Versace, Gucci, with Tom Ford, and Cavalli.
Yeah.
So I was like that. I wanted those three. So that's it.
And why do you think Cavalli sort of gave you your break? Because you started working there and you kind of really worked your way up. What did they see in you?
The craziness. And I have to tell you the truth. It's just a matter of like I arrived there and I was with my big portfolio gold, and and they took me straight away, and I met Peter Dundas like I think an hour later, and they were like, okay, you start in 6 days. So that's what happened. That's why I worked, and I feel like, you know, it was really instinctive because they just liked me as a first, you know, first sight. So they were like, okay, let's start now, and I liked it.
You've said subsequently in interviews that you're not mad about the aesthetic. You didn't completely like what they were doing design-wise. Tell me what you learned there if you didn't like.
It's not that I don't like. It's not that. It's a different world, and you know, I think I learned a lot as techniques, and I learned a lot because it's an empire. You know, it's something everything really fast. Italian companies are maybe sometimes less laboratory than French, but also make a lot of more money sometimes. So the reality is that it's really interesting as a business-wise, like to really understand the machine. But you know, I grew up, and so at one point I realized that I wanted to do my own style, you know, but that's something that you need to learn with time, and it was fine. And honestly, I had the best years in my life because I met like incredible people. Like Peter Dundas, Roberto Cavalli, Eva Cavalli, the entire family. I met Eric Wright, like so many amazing people were there, like Anna Del Russo, George Cortina. Like it's just a big family, and it was just great to actually have been part of it.
And tell me a bit, you said you've described Cavalli as really commercial. Do you think that's helped you? Because I think one of your skills is you're very good at knowing what will sell and what will be popular. Do you think it taught you that skill?
I think what is amazing is they also sell a dream and they also know how to sell it. So I think and it's also commercial, and I think I learned a lot from that also, because you can make beautiful dreams, but also you need to sell. So I mean, yes, I learned a lot from that from them. Like I mean, it's a business, and you can actually put a lot of emotion and personal feelings in everything. But at the end of the day, to make those dreams happening, you need to sell. So yes, it's I learned a lot from that also.
You worked your way up there incredibly quickly as well, and one of the things that I'm interested in, and this is a difficult question for you to answer, anytime I talk to anyone about you, they say you're so nice. It's like the big thing that everyone says, journalists, people you've worked with, but you've done so well so quickly, and how do you combine ambition with being really, really nice? Can you be not nice?
I think it's funny because since the beginning of the interview, it is like ambition and being nice, famous, but at the same time, good designer. I feel like, those two words, like French and international, those kind of things can all connect together. There is no problem. And really, like you can put them in the same sentence. There is no, I mean, yes, I think what will keep my ambition grow is because I'm nice and I'm not losing myself. Because it's really, really interesting what you say. I mean, it's really hard sometimes to actually, look at me in the mirror and think, oh my God, you achieved so much already before your 30s. And, but, I think what makes me happy is like, this kind of day, like today, like you asked me like interesting question and I'm thinking of who I am. If you ask me who I'm going to be, I don't know. But I can tell you who I am today, and I'm really proud of it. And I'm really happy to have people around me that are nice also to me. You need to be super careful because sometimes people can be like fake. That's the difficult part. But no, I want to keep it simple and natural. And I think it's what happened to my life. Like everything happened because I worked a lot, but always be nice to people. It's karma. And karma can slap in your face when you have a bad karma.
Yeah. And tell me a bit, we've talked about Italy, tell me about coming to Baumann. What attracted you to working at Baumann? Because you worked under Christophe Decanem for a while. I
think, Baumann had all the components that I love because it's old French house, it's luxury, it's craftsmanship, it's embroidery, it's couture. At the same time, it's a lot of tailoring. I love the Jolie Madame silhouette that Pierre Baumann created because in a way it was really like this structure silhouette for a woman and belts and making sure that it's really sharp. So it was really me. I obviously love the sexiness that Christophe brought. I love Oscar de la Renta, also the couture and this romanticism that Baumann had. I love the Baumann story. Like I love the Pierre Baumann story. He was into like the jet set and the princesses of Thailandia, and it was just like this kind of really crazy 70s universe, and I loved it. I think so. I wanted to go there.
It's interesting you mentioned that jet setters because it's something I was going to ask you later, but it's relevant now, which is I think a lot of designers, and maybe it goes back to what we were saying about fashion people kind of talking to themselves and being a bit elitist. They don't like to say that they dress the jet set. They try and pretend that they dress like
who do they dress?
Curators and chic artists and writers and these kind of very like I guess reserved, lofty women. But you don't care. You're very kind of you love that jet set lifestyle. And you're happy to dress those people.
Yeah, I mean I love traveling. I love meeting people. I love people that feel glamour and fabulous. I love people that feel comfy in their clothes and strong and powerful and confident. So, I mean, I can also love dressing writers. But the reality is that is what I repeat is like I dress galeristes. I mean, like a lot of women in New York that maybe are less known than some singers are in Baumann. But the reality is that you don't know because it's their strategy to actually make sure that no one gonna know them. So, I mean, like, which is amazing with the Baumann world is that people can think, okay, you dressed 3 girls, but I mean, we dress so much more.
Yeah.
But people maybe sometimes they just when you want to be blind, you want to be blind, literally. Me, I'm really proud of dressing people that are famous. I have no problem with that. And honestly, like I'm happy also because if they are famous, it's because they know how to communicate. And if they know how to communicate, it means that it's a talent, I think, the communication today. So yes, I'm happy that they love my clothes and actually communicate with my clothes.
And tell me, we talked a little bit about it at the start, but tell me about being made creative director, because you said in interviews before you really didn't expect it. You were kind of managing the studio after Christophe left, but tell me about when that call came.
That was really, really intense. The moment that I knew it, because thanks to my team, because I was managing the team. So literally, like, I was the Christophe right hand. So literally, like, I knew who I was gonna work with, you know, like, and they all trust me. They were like, take the job.
Yeah.
Don't hesitate. Don't doubt. Just take it. And all my PR team also, you know, it's really interesting because, you know, when you ask me like nice and ambition, I'm an ambitious person, but I've always been nice with the people. So literally, like, you know, it's also, I think, the fact that I've been nice that helped me to be who I am today and what I got. And I also been nice always with my team. So what also make sure that they believed in me. They were like, yes, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make the most beautiful show because we trust you and we love you. And that's, you know, it's something really nice from also my team. So I think I didn't expect anything. They proposed me and I was like, yes, of course, let's do it. And I have no hesitation, no doubt.
That appointment, it's meant that you're an incredible person in fashion because, you know, you're one of the only visible black designers working in fashion.
Yeah.
And you must get a lot of young people who find that incredibly inspiring, but it also must be strange in a way to work in an industry that is so, you know, not diverse at all.
I think it's changing. Now we are two. There's Kanye West and there's me. So we are two designers. We are two designers black, and I hope there is way more.
Yeah.
I feel like it's gonna happen. It's gonna change. You know, you're gonna have more, and also younger people. You know what I think it's for me really interesting also is that it's a really old French house. You know, that's I think it's the most significant for me because being a black guy that is under 30 in one of the most luxury French house, I think it is a big achievement, and yes, I hope it's going to change. But I'm really trying, and really spontaneous for me, it's really natural, but I'm really trying to change also that because with my casting, with my girls, like with my campaigns, I'm really, really trying to show the new world because I feel like sometimes fashion is sleeping and not really realizing that we are in 2015. You know, the rules that you use in 92, it doesn't work anymore. The world changed. Just start to open your eyes.
Yeah, it must be incredibly frustrating because many would call fashion a racist industry. You see that if you just look at how many...
Of course, I think it is.
Yeah. Tell me more about that.
I think it is because in a way, like, sometimes when you heard like some fashion shows, they don't want to take more than 3 or 4 black girls.
Yeah.
I mean, how the fuck you can have this kind of doubt? I mean, honestly. Like me, honestly, I'm really, really like not even thinking how many I have to put in my show. Like it's not even happening to me. I don't even see that she's black or white. That's the reality. I just see she's beautiful. Like how the fuck you can think, okay, we took the one from the new face from this agency. We're gonna take the old face because she's more commercial and it's okay, we have to. Like really? 2015? I mean, how the fuck you can think like that? Like I really, really don't get it. Like this is something that...
Why don't people call the industry out on it more though? Because I find it really frustrating. I find it strange as a writer. You know, people will go to a show and it will be all white casting and they won't say anything. It's almost like it's become the norm and people, I think it's so great that you speak out about it, but why don't more people?
Because a lot of people are old. I think for them, it's, you know, they grow up
It's
like
the norm.
that.
Yeah, that's
you know, I think it's this kind of people that when maybe they were in school, they didn't have like, they maybe have one black guy in their class, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, the reality of a lot of people is that they didn't grow up with like the generation that we are today. Like I think it's also like I think it's changing, and some designers is really helping, and yeah, I feel like. You know, it's really funny because my last show, I got like really, really bad comments. Some really was really like some critics were really, really mean. And one wrote like, it's so funny because the press release looked so amazing. And when I saw the show, I thought that has nothing to do with, because I was speaking about Paris, I was speaking about luxury, I was speaking about diversity, I was speaking about how I see the Parisian woman today and everything. And like, we don't get it. Like, and I was like, seriously, that's how is Paris today. And you have different women. My casting is also diversity in the ages because, you know, you have moms with their 2 kids waiting for for them at home, and you have like a new face that is 18. You have Brazilian, you have Mexican, you have Japanese, you have like everything, you know, and that's what I love. And I love seeing my girls when they do they try for the runway, you know, the catwalk. First they try, and they're like FaceTime with their kids. I just love it, you know. Instead of having just girls that you don't even know the name and you would not even remember in 2 weeks, because, you know, like that's what happened also. I just love having strong personality in my clothes.
And tell me this idea of kind of reflecting the street, because it's become a cliche in fashion. You know, designers talk about it all the time, but they don't do it authentically. But you seem to do it.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
This idea of reflecting the street, this idea of, you know, what's happening. Designers always talk about doing it, but they, you know, they don't do it. You know, they don't actually make things look like what's happening. And how do you make sure, because as you become more kind of, you know, more successful and your life now is so amazing, how do you make sure that you always have that authentic link to what
thanks to my Instagram.
Yeah.
Like, thanks to actually keep my feet on the ground, understanding my generation, also younger people understand. You know, it's also interesting to read the comments when they like something and they feel touched by something. It's so funny when like old ladies that comments your you know, old ladies writer that actually writer critique your show and just say, oh, your show is old. And when you have like 1 million of followers, actually like I think less than 30 sometimes, and actually loving your brand. And you're just like, your show is old because you think it's not cool, you know, you think it's young, but you're more than 50. How you can judge if it's old or not? Because you saw maybe that in the 80s, but imagine like the eyes of someone that is 15. Maybe this one will think it's new and young, you know. I mean, it's just really interesting how it's interesting to listen to the street, and I think the street today is like the most beautiful thing. Because I worked in couture, I love the couture and the craftsmanship, I love the unique feeling, but I realized that you don't need to look for only archives from the 60s to actually see the beauty of the life. I mean, I can be inspired by the picture that a guy is going to post from, I don't know, Japan, or I can be inspired by a travel and going to LA and seeing my friends and dressing like crazy and just having a lot of archives, and at the same time like styling this. I mean, I love the street from the world, actually.
It's interesting you talk about this idea of the world a lot, and I think it's amazing, kind of the from everything from how you conduct yourself and what you think about to how you cast your shows, and the way you've described yourself as a boy of the world. Have you ever felt any confusion in your ethnicity, or have you always just seen that sense of being from lots of different places as something empowering?
I think, you know, when I was a kid, I was literally lying. I was saying that I come from Egypt, I come from Brazil, I say that I think I come from Morocco, I come from I tried Norway, but no one believed me. I mean, I don't know. Like I say so many different origins in my life that I think I learned the map thanks to that, actually. Because I'm like, okay, this time we're gonna change, because obviously like you need to keep it for a year. When you change the class, you can change your. So literally, like I decided at one point when you grow up to really accept the fact that you don't know where you come from, and you're gonna make sure that you know where you want to go. So yes, I'm a boy of the world, and I'm happy. You know, like I love the world. I love who I am today. I don't know where I'm from, but I know where I am and where I want to go. So.
And tell me a little bit. I'm interested in this idea. It kind of goes back to Instagram again. Sorry, I keep bringing that up, but
I love my Instagram. It's part of my life.
I'm getting the vibe. I don't know how you've torn yourself away from it for this interview.
No, I'm fine. It's just it's interesting to feel like the conversation, if it's on Instagram and there is a depth in it, or if it's just like, oh, he's like a new blogger, you know, like that's different. I love speaking about Instagram, just if we need to make sure that we take it seriously.
Yeah, well, that's what's interesting, because it seems that you do take it very seriously, and I find it interesting because I think there's a certain, not that you don't have respect for critics or fashion writers, but I think it's given you a new perspective where maybe you've realised that the kind of, you know, the show reviews and all that writing that happens in fashion, it is very kind of speaking to a small group, whereas Instagram, you know, that's really what people think. And has it made you care less about criticism?
Of course, yes. Yeah. I was reading, I was seeing an interview in Paris, I think it was 2 days ago, and Katie Horin was speaking about how the world is changing with, you know, Instagram, and she's like, now people is not about critique, it's more about likes.
Yeah.
And I like, Yes, completely. Above all, when I see the last review, my last review. No, I think she's right, and I think it's pretty smart what she says, because she says like people is more into likes and following than criticism. But I mean, from that, I think you need to understand why the world is going to that. It's a consequence always of something. And what is this thing? Because why fashion goes to that? When you have to think that the writers actually that are still writing today were the same writer 10 years ago. So when you think how the world is changing, and you can see that fashion didn't change so much, and why people goes more to likes than reading their critiques, is because maybe they made it happen. And now why, I don't know, but I mean, if the world is changing, there is always a consequence of something. And what is why the cows, I don't know. But I have to tell you the truth, I really prefer to read like someone that is like super, or also a hater that's just gonna hate my show, but at least I feel like there's more meaning and it's more significant, because the guy or the girl gonna write is not paid, you know? It's just someone natural that go and gonna Insta and just say, you know what, I didn't like your show, or I love your show, and you feel like, you know, he's not gonna be fired tomorrow from the magazine because my house gonna call and just say like, why did you do a bad comment or a bad critic on my designer, you know? Like, fashion is a mafia. I mean, when you see some reviews and you see like the crappiest show ever, and they just can't say anything about the show, it's just like, oh wow. So that's why I love also Instagram, because it's more natural, you know? Like, I think there's something real that we lost. And I think when people say it's more likes than criticism, yeah, but why? How the magazine became now, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting because someone saying that, you know, it's more likes than criticism, it implies that they think it's kind of mindless, or like there's not kind of like true critique. But actually, if you look at, as you say, if you look at what's happening at the magazines, they're driven by advertisers. You know, it's criticism, but it's not criticism. It's kind of being very, it's writing nice things about people you need to write nice things about. Do you think that fashion became too corporate in a way and not authentic enough?
I think sometimes they say it's too political. I really don't think it's enough political. That's the reality of fashion. I think fashion is becoming, you know, a kind of, I mean, I think most of all the covers, and I mean, it's interesting because, you know, you're going to put some clothes on the cover because you know that maybe it's going to be the biggest advertising, you know. But if you get a lot of likes on your clothes, it's not because you pay anyone to actually having the likes. It's because people are going to just say, I love this outfit. So I think yes, fashion becomes like a big machine, and obviously it's amazing because it's a big business, but you just really want to know like why people is just so bored of it, why people is more into digital, Instagram, and less into criticism, because I feel like they want truth, they want reality. Like, I'm so, for example, happy with the success of my friend Kim, because she's like 10 seasons on a row with her real TV, and when people say, oh, she has no talent, I'm like, she has more talent than everybody. Like, she's a businesswoman, she has like a real TV that actually keep going on and on and on. And why? Because people want truth, they want realness, you know, reality. And I think it's also that in fashion that happen now. People want to have real thing face to them, like just they want to believe in something that is real and just not having lie, you know.
Do you worry then, because people often talk about Instagram becoming quite fake, you know, people taking kind of 20 pictures before they post one, or kind of, even now you are seeing brands paying for things to be posted on Instagram. That must be strange.
Yeah, and it's gonna happen, and it's gonna be a new app that's gonna, you know, I think it's always that. They need time to understand. When they understand, they're just gonna make it happen again and again and again. You know, like you're using photographers, big photographer now to take picture and post on your Instagram. You are also, I'm looking at now if some writers or like journalists, they're gonna take a picture of my show instead of taking picture of other show. You know, you don't you just check, you know, you do a video for in backstage and you're gonna check if the magazine put the video or not, and you just like, you know, like obviously, like I think it's important, you know, like Instagram today is a new way of understanding also the feeling of the people, and where before people were, me my first show, people were applauding at the end of the show. Now it's just the flash of the iPhones. You know, like in 4 years everything changed straight away, and now you're just more into before I was like going on website to actually see the critic and being super scared and being like, okay, what's gonna say now? Now I'm just going on my Instagram and seeing if they regram my show. Like that's what happened. That's the new life.
You mentioned before Kim Kardashian, and I wanted to ask about some of the women who you, and maybe some specifically the celebrities who you work a lot with. People like Kim Kardashian, people like Rihanna. You mentioned Kanye West before, and I find it intriguing fashion's relationship with celebrity, because on one hand, fashion people really court celebrities, but on the other, they're incredibly kind of lofty and can be quite snobby, and you must have found that a bit. I think the fashion world's reaction to someone like Kim has been quite strange. In some hands, you know, very positive, in other hands, very dismissive, and you seem to have kind of taken a very fresh view.
Oh yeah, me, I love her. I'm her biggest fan, biggest friend. Like, I just love this woman. I think she's just changing the world also. That you like or you don't, you have to recognize that she's the one that actually changed the world. She's a strong woman. She's also, I think it's already funny as a designer, because everybody wants to dress her also, like so many designers. She's on the front row of every show, and she's not 185 with 25 kilos, you know. I think it's also interesting. She's bringing the woman body again, like, you know, and what is funny about fashion, they are like, we go to girls that are too thin and too and now we are like going for real women with real shape, and I think thanks to her, you know, like she's bringing back something really fresh in fashion. She's also bringing that diversity, because she's American, Armenian, she's with Kanye, which is black. North is like the most beautiful baby, like mixed race, you know, like I feel like that's the new world. And at the same time, she's a super strong businesswoman. She's the most humble person. I mean, when you go with her, when you have dinner with her, she talks to everybody. She's really like, I mean, I love her and I can trust her. It's someone that I have in my heart, and whatever happens, she will always be with me. And sometimes people don't get it, or they don't want to, you know, it's jealousy. But I mean, I don't care about what they think. They really have to understand that. For example, you asked me about me, but me, if I tell you about her, for sure, in 20 years, we're gonna open books and think about her, how she changed an entire world, I think.
Do you think people criticize because they're jealous or because they're scared? I think in some ways, a lot of the people who criticize, they're nervous of, you talk a lot about, you know, your generation, the new world, and I think a lot of people are very scared of that, because it means that it might leave their job, you know, obsolete. If you're a fashion critic and no one's reading criticism, you know, do you think people are nervous a bit?
Yes, of course, they're really, really scared. I think that's why it goes so, I mean, I think they're more, I mean, I can see from my show, like, when Kim arrives to my show, is like, it's huge impact. Like, people are like crazy fans, and also Rihanna, like, you can feel the power that those girls and women have on the people. And I think there's a lot of jealousy, because maybe, like, you know, 10 years ago, you were like, oh my God, this writer is coming to the show now. I mean, I don't even know if she comes or not. I don't care about whatever writer. Like, some I care. Yeah. But, you know, like, I feel they kind of like, some are kind of frustrated and repressed, I think, because in a way, like, they don't have any more their scene, you know? So.
And tell me a little bit about kind of, I guess, like this idea of the Balmain army, which people talk about a lot.
Yeah.
And why do you think they use the word army?
You know what? I'm going to tell you completely the truth. It's happened during my last winter show. No, but not this one, but the one before, a year ago. And I felt like my life is becoming a battle, because I was literally trying to please so much, you know, the press and at a point I was like, I don't want to please anyone except myself. And from this moment, when I start to choose different music for my show, when I start to actually put more pop culture, when I start to do also different castings, like really, I realized that actually sometimes fashion is like a fight, a battle. Yeah. And so to fight against it, just be part of my army. And I start to create the Balmain army. That's it. And it's a fabulous army. It's a glamour army. There is no violence, obviously. It's just an army of vision, you know, and of strong people in it. But it's because I really became someone that pleased myself, trying to please myself. I believed in army.
Who are you fighting against?
The system sometimes. With Instagram, when I start to have my Instagram, when I start to actually, playing more pop culture, having references that are not from the 50s or the 60s, you know that when you're gonna say, I can be inspired by this girl that I love her new album and your song. They're like, really? Why your muse is not from the 80s? And just like, why my muse can't be from 2015? Why I can't be inspired by her? And I think that was at the beginning really, really hard because, like sometimes people doesn't get it, and I face different, and also today different troubles. But I'm so happy and proud of what I do. So but that's why I think we built this army because I really understood that the day that I'm start to please myself and believe in what I want really, I will have to actually go against a lot of things.
So you don't think you're doing that yet? Are you not totally being yourself? You're not totally doing exactly what you want?
I think I'm on the right track. Like going, I'm learning, day after day. Like I'm not even 30, So I can tell you that I know exactly who I am. I know that I'm discovering step by step, and my collection are growing at the same time I'm growing. So I think I would never know exactly who I am, but I will always try to look for it. That's it.
And do you think you'll break even more rules, become more outspoken?
Yes, I really think so. I think I'm not looking, honestly, above all, because I'm not looking for it. Like sometimes I say some sentences that they retake, and they're like literally like saying, oh, he say that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not, and as you can say, I'm really spontaneous. I'm not calculating anything. I'm just telling you my feelings. And sometimes it gets too political, and I'm like, really? I don't understand why. I don't know. I think there is way more to push as boundaries today. But I think it's changing. I think I'm trying with my little power. I'm trying to actually change a bit the world in my way.
It's very humble. It was a privilege talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you.